trained to be a professional wrestler. It was summer 2000. I was still in high school, junior, senior year. So I joined a wrestling school, and back then the Hardy Boys were huge. And I used to have this videotape called Leap of Faith. And in the videotape, Matt Hardy talks about his own gear for him and Jeff. So I was like, so in my senior year in high school, I took a sewing class. And he taught me how to use the machine. And as soon as I graduated, I hit the road, started wrestling, and I just started teaching myself how to make tights. And every time I learned something new, I would tell my clients, hey, I know how to make this now, and that's how I built my repertoire of things I could do. But pretty much just about 90% of everything I make is stuff I taught myself how to do. I have no formal training other than learn how to make pajamas in high school.
Wow, that is, I don't even know how to sew. So the fact that you taught yourself how to make this gear is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, what goes into that? Is it a matter of looking at certain videos, or did you have anyone in your family that also was good at doing this that you were able to look at? Like, what actually goes into self-teaching yourself how to be wardrobe? So
my mom had a sewing machine. This is old, one straight stitch, one zigzag stitch. It could go through anything. And so I would literally go out to the store. I go in the closet and I buy a jacket and I take it apart. And then I try to put it back together. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. And again, I have no formal training on how to take measurements. So a lot of the stuff I do, it's done in a way so that I can read it. So if I were to give it to Yolanda or it might look like chicken scratch. But to me, it's like, it's my schematics. And so like sometimes we just need something else. Right, so I have a story. When Corey Graves was in the next team, he asked me to make a pair of skinny jeans. I never made jeans in my life. So I told him, yeah, I can do it. He walked in and so I went home, just grabbed a pair of my jeans. Lo and behold, I helped make his look for a while.
That is amazing, and that's such a great story and a testament to what you can do when you put your mind to it, even if you don't know, you just make it to make it pretty much. So yeah, so from that point forward, how did you then get to the point where you are now, traveling the world and you're making designs for so many wrestlers? I mean, if you look at the screenshot of everyone on this panel, just the designs that you made, you've worked with so many amazing wrestlers, you still do to this day. So how do you exactly get to that point?
So a lot of wrestlers, I used to be moved to South Japan. And for a while I was making a lot of things. And in 2012, when she got signed, I quit my job. I was making ice cream at a factory in the Northeast, but cookies and cream ice cream is the best. Yeah, so I quit that job, moved to Florida. I was just making her times and just helping her, progress and helping support her in any way possible. And so to help keep some extra income coming in, I decided to start making tickets for the wrestlers. I made Mojo Raleigh, Ethan Carter, Showtime, Percy Watson, and then I slowly started building up a client list in WWE to the point where in 2015, I was asked by the head of TR to come in and help out with WrestleMania for 2 months. So I was like, all right, let me put a pause on this. At the same time, I was still wrestling, trying to make it in wrestling. And I put a pause on wrestling, decided to do that for 2 months. After the 2 months, hey, we liked you. We want to sign you on for another year. So you know what? I've been wrestling for 15 years. And we are traveling Massachusetts to North Carolina to learn. So let's give this a try. So I started working backstage at WWE, and 6 months in, like, hey, I want to extend 3 years. And I've just been there since. And I don't regret it at all. I still miss wrestling, but I still get the same kind of creative gratification working backstage.
So what does a typical day in the life, or week, I should say, because we're basically in wrestling season. It's always, for anyone involved in wrestling, it's a really happy time of work. But for you, what does a week in your life look like at this time of year?
I mean, the biggest adjective to explain this time of year for me is just restless. Like I'm literally 3 hours of sleep, just I'm on planes, off of planes, working as long as I can because at this time of year things just get more. Nowadays the gear is so elaborate, it's kind of like that. During WrestleMania season from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, everybody's trying to really step it up and really elevate their looks. So in doing, and then yeah, you have actually, especially me being a wrestler, like I want people to look as good as they can be during this time of year. Because for some of them, it might be the only time. So I'm going to do everything I can to help make it come to fruition, which also means me just not sleeping much. There's been nights where I'm sewing during Mania week. I'm sewing, and instead of going back up to my room to sleep, I'll sleep underneath my table for an hour or two, and then get back up and keep working. If I go, I know if I go to my hotel room, that's 6 hours. I'm really asleep, so I just can't. I can't put time away. So it's a lot of that. Work out when I can, get a running when I can. For the most part, it's just the sewing machine.
Where do you find the energy, Sarath? Because even listening to this, it's amazing that you're able to, because being a creative person, there's so much brain power that goes into this, and you're working with your brains, your hands, everything. Where do you get the energy from in order to do what you do?
I feel like the years on the indies like really primed me for it. So my schedule normally when I was on the indies, I would work overnights making ice cream, and then on a Friday night, on a Friday morning, I'd get out of work at 7 a.m., sleep 2 hours, shower, drive to wherever I have to the rest of that evening. Sometimes I'd have overtime, so I'd wrestle at 6 o'clock at night, and then drive, from Philly back to Massachusetts because I got to be at work at 10 p.m. Work through the night, and just I do that all week, and it was that schedule for 10 plus. So after that, when your brain is RPM, anything slower than that just makes you feel like you're not. So like sometimes it's almost like, hey, that happens. Sometimes I'll push the phone to the last minute and hold it off because that whole go mode is what makes you feel like you make decisions that you can't sit there and lollygag on decisions. Sometimes it's just, hey, make a decision, go and get it out.
So when you have some time off, Sarath, what do you do when you're not creating?
Play with my dog. I have a little corgi named Rocky. He's my world. Like he literally gets top billing over everyone else. So when I'm at home, we're at dog parks, we're going for walks. I live in Orlando, so I go out to the springs, I go paddleboarding. Anything to get away. Like when I'm not at work or when I'm not in wrestling mode, I detach from everything. I feel like my brain is so wired for it that at home, if I let it, it'll just consume me. So I purposely just shut away. You'll find me in an arcade, just killing people, taking time. That's about
I love it. I love a good barcade moment. That's awesome. Oh, one thing that you said, a key word, elaborate, which once I get to Yolanda as well, this is something I'm going to pose to you and also to Troi. But I thought the word elaborate struck out to me because as we've seen, especially on social media, a lot of wrestling fans are really noticing the intricacies of what you all do, whether it's wardrobe design or styling. And they're finding even little Easter eggs that they're finding storylines just based on the creations that you make. So when we're talking about the elaboration, what does that look like in collaboration with the folks that you work with? Is there some sort of synergy that happens?
with some talent, they have a very specific idea of what you want to get to look like. You work with them to make that come to life. Some people will completely trust you've worked with them long enough that they know that you're not going to steer them wrong. So they're like, hey, like these kind of colors I want. Let's go to town. Prime example, Troi for Mania against Cody. I sent them a picture of Prince, Lace. I said, hey, this is kind of what I want to do for this year. And they were all, yeah, let's go with it. And I feel like with that, it's like one of the most top box outfits that we did for a guy. Yeah, and then to me, that was one of those moments that really opened up the fashion world and that the high fashion look with wrestling tights. Because back then it was mostly just spandex. And, your run of the mill kind of looks with some some Swarovski crystals and things like that. Once we started doing the lace, I feel like that really started the creativity and the avenue for people's gear and their looks.
That's really cool. That's fascinating. And I'm going to, I'll get back to you, Sarath, and then Troi. This conversation, you're welcome. This conversation is amazing. I'm learning a lot as well because a lot of this is new to me also as a lesson. Miss Yolanda, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing very well. And I wanted to refer to you because once again, that key word, elaboration. I mean, you've been doing this, both wrestling design and fashion for years. And you're a Philly girl like myself, with a different flavor coming from Philadelphia. And it seems like you really put your all into the work that you do. And it shows people have responded dearly to your work on social media and beyond. For you, Yolanda, how did you started in this game, moving from fashion design to designing for wrestlers as well?
So, let's see. All right. So, been fans as a test of time. Just to point this out. This is Michael's shirt. Like, well, I was 15 years old. I'm the WWF teacher. This is a big teacher. And so, but also one of the, as much as I love wrestling, I know I want to be a fashion designer. I was simple. So that was like first and foremost, right? So I get my degree from more than three, go straight to New York to work in the design industry there. And around 08, 6 or 7, I learned about or love. And at that time, unfortunately, a lot of WWE merchandise was slacking. It was not worth the $30 that they were charging at the time. The best shirt, of course, the shirt. And, I was debating around then, should I design for pro wrestlers or should I come up with a t-shirt like that? And funny enough, I asked that advice from Claudia. And he said the t-shirts. Now, yeah, come from a fashion background, Echo and Hurley, Coogee and brands like that. So like the screen print and that hour was like tight. So all right, let's do this. So unbeknownst to me, in 08, I decided to become to launch a wrestling alternative brand, which was the first wrestling alternative brand. And I was called Gimmicks Wrestling Tees. And one of my main popular t-shirts was the Future Endeavor t-shirt, because everybody's Future Endeavor. So it was more turned into empowerment, and everybody feels that way out. And I Love Heels shirt, a couple other shirts. And then fast forward 2012, I want to say, there's more people coming out the woodwork with their own wrestling t-shirts, which is fine, but a lot of people are stealing from each other. And I know me, and I can't come to your house and go stop stealing my stuff. And also, sorry, a little fast forward. So, to wrestler or I have a merch team like shit. I'm slinging merch, as I would call it, and I'm taking it from Philly all the way to Providence, Rhode Island, all kinds of stuff. And they're like, "You do this for me." So I short term a brand to be able to provide a product and a service. So I'm designing wrestling t-shirts for people. Printed from screen printers, whether they're and with it, their price points, their profit, and also in their branding, right? That's instilled in me with my